Let's chat some shit. So nervous.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I feel like there needs to be some music.
I feel like I'm a lot taller than you now. Better?
We're better now. I feel like we're equals. Do you like think of any topics at all?
I do have a question, but I thought maybe first we'll just catch up.
Okay.
Because
I'm nervous when you say you got questions.
Because it's been
Long time.
a long time.
It's been a
We
long
still
time.
haven't got Kote out yet. And it's ready. It's ready.
Dude.
So maybe
Conte's in the paper today. She's in
really?
advertiser, the Sunday Mail.
What's it got? I don't read the paper, so...
No, I flick through it to see if my girls are in it. Usually 3 out of 7 days, there's people in there. I don't know.
Yep.
See the Jenna, Kote, Condon.
And Kote's about...
Kote's in there today. She got engaged.
Oh, really? Ah, we did know that, didn't we?
We did in that.
Very
I told you she
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's in the paper today.
Nice.
Big shout out to Val for that. Thanks, Val. And Carly for engaging Kote. So
Congratulations.
okay, so you got a question, but we'll do catch up. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
I don't even remember where we left off. Where did we leave off?
How about we begin like this?
We begin like, yeah. You do.
Welcome back to another episode of the Murph and Mitise Show.
You ready? Let's go.
It's been, again, a long time.
Long
but
time.
We're back for a... I don't know when the next one's going to be, again, but we're here now.
I have 2 fully grown children now. Murph's been married 3
I
times.
have even less hair.
We are a fucking show. It's an independent project, fully decking us fucking out. Full kit wanker yesterday.
We are. We're fully decked out today.
Tell you that
I
one.
think we're progressively more and more.
More and more fucking kit. Oh shit. Yeah, it's been ages. It's been a long time.
And a lot's happened. I think I reckon our last one would have been maybe the end of my season.
I reckon it was the end of the season.
Which was a few months ago.
No, the last one we actually did was we did the live show Friday night here. We had some beers.
We had a beer and did a live show.
We didn't put that one out. We didn't record that one. That was just a live show.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't recorded.
That was when Creaky was over.
That's right.
There.
Yep.
So that would have been
He was talking smack.
talk smack. Doesn't sound like Creaky at all, but that would have been when. Feb.
Let's just say 2.5 months ago.
Nah, it's more than that.
More than that?
More than that. It's more than that. It was a long time.
Okay. Let's say a long time ago.
Yeah.
We're well overdue.
Well overdue.
But here we are.
Catch up.
And
It's the recap.
recap. What is a recap?
Recap. Catch up. What's been happening?
What's been over the last 4 months? Tell us.
Soccer's been doing my head in.
Doing your head in.
Not doing my head in. I take that back. It's not doing my head in. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
So
Tell us.
So White City, big shout out. So right now we're going into our final game of the season.
Oh, where are you on the ladder?
Second.
Equal second, clear second.
Clear second,
Nice.
I think by a point from memory.
And how many teams?
Out of 8 or 10? 10 teams. So
Okay.
basically what the goal is now. So we got end of season, so one team won the league, whoever finishes top, most points. Then we went to finals. Okay, I already found this out the other day. So with finals, if you get into, basically the way it works, if we get into the grand final, and let's say we play that top team in that grand final, both of those two, like, because they're first, they're automatically getting promoted to the NPL next year, which is the Premier League for soccer. And then if we finish second and we play them in the grand final, then we will also get promoted.
Nice.
Alright? But if they don't make the grand final and then we make the grand final, we have to win, basically. Because only 2 teams get promoted, so they're already up. So they've already been promoted, or will be promoted for next year. So it's one more spot left, and that'll be grand final winner if we don't play them. If we make it and it's them in the final, then we both get up.
See?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
Decent chance?
Decent chance. On paper, I'm gonna say it, we got the best team on paper. On the field, some things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Sport happens.
Some things happen.
Sport happens.
But from my perspective, for what I've been doing with them, we've had no, touch wood, no significant injuries all year. We have a squad, I think a squad of maybe 18 to 21 players that we can choose from every week. No one's ruled out unless they've got red cards. So no one's ruled out for injury. And usually this is the time of the year when, what I've been told is that the last couple of seasons, they have multiple players ruled out because of OP or hamstrings or calves or quads or whatever. No injuries.
Yep.
and feeling fit going into finals. So should be good. Should be good.
This is actually a really good segue to my question later, but we'll get back to that.
Oh shit! Okay.
Okay, keep going.
So that's where that's been at. Or like regular clientele. I said regular clientele. Like the girls, we had the World Cup. So we had the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. What else we have there? Cotta came back for a week. She was away for a couple of months. We've had Chids in and out.
Yep.
We've had Jenna in and out. We've had
Hannah's away.
Hannah's away with the Gaelic team.
Yep.
So they played in the Gaelic World Championships in Ireland. Big shout out to girls for that because they came second. So I trained on them for that's in the world. Played against the New York team.
Yeah, right.
The New York team won. So that was actually really, really cool. So I had those girls in for, it was a 6-week block of training before they left. And that was the same thing. So 6 weeks, just trying to minimise their chances of getting injured, keeping them on the field. Showed them some band distraction, showed them some recovery work they could do while they were over there. The feedback I was getting was that they were doing it religiously and they were successful. So that was cool. Shit, what else? Like, that's pretty much where it's been at for my last couple of months. I'm trying to think of anything else, but that's where I'm at.
Kept you busy.
Kept me busy.
Kept you busy.
What's keeping you busy?
So, I mean, obviously, off season for us. A lot of the boys go away, do their own thing, interstate or overseas. Obviously, lost a couple of players. For those who keep up to date with the Sixers, a couple of players went to other NBL teams. Part of sport. That's unfortunate. You lose a couple of friends, lose a couple of good players, but we also gain some good players as well. So we're looking forward to the new season, which starts. Well, pre-season is now on. But yeah, during off season, we get some of the boys in. Who's ever left in Adelaide, whoever hangs around, plays our district local leagues. We get some of them in still 2-3 times a week. Get us a decent lift in. So we've been focusing on just normal off season stuff, getting some strength work in, just trying to enjoy the workouts. Nothing too crazy because pre-season is crazy. Just getting the boys in, having a good lift, having a bit of fun. Get some.
What would that be? What would that be in session? Like when you say get them in for a lift, have a bit of fun. What would that involve? You have fun or they have fun?
We both have fun. So sometimes they walk in and like, fuck, this is a Murph fun session because it's a little bit tougher. And then sometimes I'll give them, you know what, let's just do some beach muscles today. Just because I don't want to go too strict with them. I want them to come in and just enjoy lifting again. So we'll do bench press and bicep curls. And
summer's coming.
As long as it's balanced, that's my main thing. As long as they're balanced, I don't really care too much about the off-season stuff. Balanced workout, get some muscle back, get some strength back, get their enthusiasm back in the gym. And then now that pre-season's here and running, ready to go, we're back onto the proper structured phased out systems. So that's pretty fun. Now we're involved in the pre-season. Obviously, uni as well has been fun. We had I got through my first semester of my second year well. Got some good high distinctions, a couple of credits in there as well, which I was okay with.
I wasn't okay with it though.
You know what? I'm not settling for it, so I've got to do better, pick up my game there. But we got through it, which is cool. And then starting my second semester now, so that's good. That's good. We get through uni because we got to get through uni. That's pretty much me, man. Nothing. I had a holiday, Fiji holiday. You can see by my
tan.
Great tan.
I wanted to mention that. I'm just you've come back dark.
I really don't tan that easily. Mind you, I don't really burn easily either, so it's I just naturally
steamed. You just steamed.
I come out with a fraction more colour from like transparent skin to white now. But Fiji was nice. A good getaway, relax, chill out. I had my phone, but didn't really turn the phone on, just to escape from the world for a week before we come back to the hecticness that we're involved in now. And here we are. Yeah. So
what does your pre-season structure involve at the moment then? Basically, what are you doing? Not specifically, we can tell specifically, but like, what would you be running now for the next 2 week, 3 week, 4 week?
So we've got 2 solid weeks before we go away to our first trip. Because this pre-season's like hectic with travel. Being like I said to you before, we got Philippines straight away, followed by Perth, followed by Tasmania, followed by Utah. With only really about a week break between each one, some not even that much. So the first 2 weeks we got 5 days straight, Monday through to Friday with the weekends off. Where it's obviously week one's pretty much just going through the motions of orientation day, testing days, introduction back to the gym, basically setting the standard of how I want them to lift, teaching them tempos and some technique stuff and postural stuff, and getting used to me being as strict as I am on certain areas, which some of them have been a bit like, well, this is a little bit different. This is some interesting stuff. So that's been good. Now that we've set the standards, week 2 starts tomorrow. We'll get our first lift tomorrow morning for the week. We start to get a bit more individualised now into week 2. Week 3, we're travelling, but they'll get their own individual programs as of week 3. So the first 2 weeks are anatomical adaptation, just getting back in the gym, used to lifting again, as they're going through the techniques and structure and whatever else. Week 3 is their proper their proper individual program. Really specialising on what they told me in week 1. So part of orientation, I asked them what you want to get out of pre-season, what you expect of me, tell them what I expect of them, what their goals are for pre-season, their weaknesses, their strengths, and so on. And based on that and all the testing we do, we design programs for them to move forward with from there. So that starts week 3.
I think every time you hit the table, the camera shakes.
It does. No more table hitting.
So for all those
there are no earthquakes.
no, what's going on? So we'll cut that out from no more table hitting.
Table hitting.
I think you can like brush it.
We can brush.
Lean on it. Just don't bash it.
Okay. No more.
Because I was sort of shaking. I was like, oh god.
The Italian in me is physical.
Just want to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. 6. It's gonna be hectic.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. We're looking forward to the travel. Philippines will be.
For those that don't know.
For those who don't know, go Google boomers in Philippines, and you'll see why the look on my face came across then. But look, honestly, I think it's going to be a good experience for us. It'd be a good way to. I think it will be good in the way of smoothing over the issues that happened last year and recovering that relationship between us and the Philippines. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a something to work through with some of the guys who were there and experienced that firsthand. But I think at the end of this trip, we'll walk away saying, yep, we're good with Philippines now. We'll have to go back again. It's going to be a good experience. Really, we're using it for team bonding and just to start to see how we play as a team against someone else who's not us, so not into team scrimmage. So it is mainly for that. But yeah, I think it'd be good as a bonus, 2 birds, 1 stone, to also smooth over the relationships between the 2 countries.
Taking like rib protectors and helmet, knee pads.
I think that's the main reason they're bringing me, actually. Is
yeah, the muscle.
Not for strength conditioning, it's more for the security guard in the games. So I'll just be sitting there with muscle top
glasses on, just watching.
Yeah. No, I think it's gonna be good. I think it'll be good. Joey knows the coach really well, so it's not. I think it's a different coach from memory. Don't quote me on that. So Joey knows the coach really well. They've spent a lot of time together over their lives, so it's definitely going into the relationship, going to the game as a friendly.
Yeah.
It's a much different environment to the qualifying.
Yeah. Like you said before, that was a high pressure game.
It was, and this is strictly friendly.
Strictly create space, 1-on-1 dunk competition. You have that.
Yeah.
Friendly games.
Yes, it'll be good fun. We're looking forward to it. We are.
Indeed.
So yeah, let me ask you a question.
Oh shit. I've said this before. I'm always nervous when someone says, "I want to talk to you. I want to ask you a question."
So I said before, a bit of a segue. You already brought it up.
The White City Boys.
Yes. How do you? Because you're obviously very good at this. How do you build a resilient athlete?
Oh, how do I build it?
How do you build it? I don't care about anyone else because there's lots of different ways out there. I want to know how Mitise builds his resilient athletes.
Now, we're talking like everything, or we're talking like physical, like mental, emotional, psychological.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of aspects. Let's start with the physical side of it.
Physical side of it. So pre-season's where we build.
Yes.
Alright. So pre-season we had compulsory gym sessions. Alright. I'll just go from physical.
Yeah.
Right?
Just physical.
We had compulsory sessions where the boys would come in at a certain time and they had to do programs on the board. There's a lot of hip, adductor, hamstring, core focused.
Now, is this because of your sport, or is this in general for every athlete?
Every athlete is different, so this was for the sport
Of soccer. Correct.
Yeah.
Would that be, now could you also translate that to any other on-field endurance aerobic-based sport? like football, like
Yeah,
Gaelic,
you could translate the physical capacity and the resiliency.
Yeah.
You modify for the athlete in the sport and for
Positional based.
I was going to say, and positional, depending on what their requirements are for the position they're in. But the way I think of it is that if you're field sport, you're looking at, let's say just field sports in general, you're looking at high load through the hips and glutes, hamstrings, quads, lower body.
Yep.
Minimal upper body, you don't need that unless you're looking at now, adding and tackling and things like that. Gaelic was interesting because that one, you don't tackle, you can bump. So it's like, do I include upper body work? Do I not? So I did a little bit.
Yep.
But from the start, it was...
when you say upper body work, you mean like strength, phase upper body work?
Integrated strength.
Integrated, and explain that.
So integrated strength for me is not beach muscles, so beach muscles being isolated single joint exercises. All the strength work that I did upper body was compound.
Yep.
So I'd basically get them to do integrated work where we're looking at obviously wrist, elbow, shoulder, but also integrating into like say thoracic rotation, or integrating into some kind of leg isometric hold or whatever that may be. Standing cable press. We did some supine hip extension floor presses. I did a lot of floor presses. Started doing more of that where you're actually doing like a bench press on the floor. Just for like shoulder to scap stability. So we did a lot of that. That's integrated. That's my integrated strength. Whereas like lower body, I'll do a lot more specific. So I'll do a lot more like hip thrusting, deadlifting, lunging, lateral lunging, Nordics, that kind of stuff. I've removed in season, so I think I've skipped ahead, but like in season I removed Nordics and then added in tantrums, so hamstring like fibula tantrums.
Why is that?
Reason being is that if you're looking at studies on and you're looking at sort of maybe not studies per se, but like the requirements in sport and what happens when you're looking at pulled hamstrings and you're looking at like phase of hamstring motion. What some stuff's coming out saying is that people cramping and people pulling muscles occurs when they're not training at the intensities that they're playing at. Right? A Nordic is really good in season when you're looking at eccentric strength of the hamstrings. But in season, I want to see.
You said the same thing. So Nordic is best for when?
Pre-season.
You said in season before, so just clarify.
What is that? In season, I'm using tantrums.
Yep. So you said in season for Nordics before, just then.
What do you mean?
You just said in season Nordics are good.
Oh, tantrums are good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nordics are good. And
I knew what you meant. Just want to clarify
Sorry, camera. Pre-season I used Nordics, and then I changed it and took the Nordics out in season and put in the tantrums.
Because it's more specific to gameplay.
More specific to gameplay. It's high intensity. You're getting a quick change of phase from concentric to eccentric motion. So a hamstring tantrum or fibula tantrum is like get the players laying on their belly on the floor, put a fibula on their butt, and then they got to basically kick the ball. Hamstrings. All right. So as they hit it, they go straight to eccentric phase. They've got to control that and bring it back concentrically quickly.
We could even chuck a quick video.
I got heaps of it, so I can send one through. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to keep them at an intensity and only keep them between 15 and 40 seconds maximum.
Yep.
Alright.
Do you find much difference between a supine or prone tantrum?
I don't do a lot. I don't do a lot of prone tantrums purely for time and space limitation and for setup.
Supine or prone?
So I do a lot of prone tantrums.
Yep.
I don't do a lot of supine tantrums.
Yep.
So seated tantrums or face up tantrums. I don't do a lot of them just for setup purposes.
Yep. I actually saw a good one. I haven't seen this one before, which makes sense. It's in there. Is a standing tantrum. Yeah. Single leg.
Yeah.
Which is quite a good idea. Because obviously that's more specific again.
Mm-hmm.
But supine prone is great because it takes away a lot of other thought of other muscles. Really specific. Supine it brings in more that hip extension, the posterior chain. And then standing again, now you can actually hold your posture while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you're not sort of moving the upper body and swaying around.
And you're integrated into in the motion. And I think that's a good one. So if we take it back and say, how do I develop resilient athletes?
Yep.
Is I focus almost exclusively on sort of core out building.
Yep.
And so with things like I said, like the hamstring, because they're going to get a lot of run work and do a lot of like movement standing anyway, I'm like, cool, we can just lay down, go to at the end of the session.
Yep.
So pre-season they do those sessions, that's right, and it's more lower body based strength. As we got into season, we did more like core instability. I won't say core, I mean like unilateral. So one arm, one leg, and then anti-rotation, and then rotation work as well.
Everything being compound integrated movements, or do you
Almost
do any isolation,
no
TBA
isolation.
work?
No isolation.
In season or
In
pre-season
season.
or both?
I'm trying to remember back to program. In pre-season, we didn't do any except the Nordics isolation work.
I mean, for core, so like TVA focus.
Oh,
like
we do
Tifidus
planks
focus.
and we do planks. We do side planks. So I would call that isolation because you're not integrating into something. In season, I started adding in like Pallof presses or split stance Pallof presses. For me, that's like a compound core.
Yep.
You
love your Pallof press, don't you?
Love the Pallof
The
press.
one with the weight dangling
Dynamic
platform.
Pallof presses,
They're
fantastic.
Good. They're good.
Absolutely fantastic. They are brilliant and they are hated and I love it. So a lot of that stuff and progressing through there. Lately, the last 6 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, we've added an extra field session to the program for the boys. So
doing conditioning.
No, so conditioning gameplay. So Kingsley said to me, the coach has said to me, I want to add on the field session as we get into finals, so we can get to end of season and finals, so we can work on more structure, more actual ball work. And I was like, all right, cool. So what I then did is I opened the gym up so boys can come in when they want to, and I have a program there for them. So we changed up the way the sessions will run halfway through the year, so they didn't have to come in at the same time. The whole team was in at any one time. It was like, cool, now you staggered in because they knew their work and they could come in and just do it. I supervise that, and then now it's like when they can. Getting into, and obviously, like Kins and I talk a lot about loading parameters and how much we're actually doing, and I find out, okay, what did you do with them Monday night? What did you do with them Tuesday night?
Do you use metrics for that, or just?
I just ask him what he does with them, and then I watch them. Heavy load, heavy session. We did a lot of MAS running, or we did some light session, and we're going to do half an hour, whatever it may be. And I judge based on that. And that's gone well. That's gone really, really well. So they're still doing what they want to be doing in the gym when they come in. And then we're getting that extra field session. So I'm just aware now of, as we get into finals, just making sure that no one's pulling up with niggles. If we're removing compulsory, hour a week of lifting, and we're putting in another field session, just making sure that that's not going to lead into, as I said, those pulls or the overloading of that without getting rebalanced.
How long do your lifts go for in pre-season compared to now before play or final start? So
the actual session that I designed in pre-season was an hour. It's 42 minutes under load. Pre-season, and then obviously that tapers off as we get to the end of the pre-season. Now the session that I plan is about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then the loading is about 32 to 35 minutes under load. And what I try and do is I try and keep the intensity up, the volume down. I also change out for who's played. So if you played, for me, if you've played less than 30 minutes, you do more reps, more sets. If you've played less than that, you do that.
Just to maintain consistency.
Just to maintain consistency across the board, and to ensure that the players who are not playing as much are still getting a higher load. The players who are playing more are getting a lower load, but still getting what they need to be getting.
Cool.
And then as we move into the next, I think it's 4 weeks, got this week, and then we've got weeks of finals, it'll be week by week basis, what's happening. And the key, I think you said it before, is balance across what they're doing. So as we increase field sessions, I need to sort of make sure that we're getting increased glute hamstring function or
when do you do this?
load. This stuff I started adding into the sessions that I run Tuesday nights.
Okay, so still in the gym.
No. So Tuesday nights I go out and I run a speed session. So Tuesday nights, basically Mondays in the gym, same as what we've had all year. Tuesdays I go out and take the boys through a field session. So sometimes you'll see that on my Instagram. If you're following my Instagram, I'll post up what we're doing. That's changed significantly. What I used to do at the start of the season, as we progressed through and what's happened, latest stuff coming out is how often players hit maximal velocity in sessions determines there's a huge correlation between that and the risk of hamstring pulls. So I can't remember exactly what it was. Lewis can hook me up. He's a physio there, but he was basically I'm pretty much on the money with those Tuesday nights. We focus on I need speed. I need them to run at speed, longer distances than I get in the games. All right, because I need the loading through the hamstrings, not too much, enough. All right, and so we would do. It varies from like straight speed sessions or sprint sessions into speed like acceleration deceleration. I'll do curvilinear work, so where we're going different angles, so it might be like weaving through things, might be going around and back around, just to hit different aspects of like not just the hamstrings but like calves, hips, core as we're moving. So you're going to get these in the game, but at speed. They have to be at pace. And keep that intensity up, so I can then see okay who's working hard, who's not. I'll add gameplay into that as well, where they compete against each other. Obviously, they're early 20s boys. They want to compete against each other. Compete against each other.
Boys like to compete.
Love that. And so so I'll do a lot of that work, and that's what we're doing now is maintaining. What I'm saying is maintaining that speed, those speed sessions on the Tuesdays. They have to do that to ensure that they're prepared and ready for the games. So our games like this week is on Saturday, it's on Friday last week, we had a short turnaround. So every week we're sort of changing the sessions up and changing what we're doing and whatnot, but it's a matter of adapting to the situation and adapting to the schedule. So you say, how do I do it? We have a schedule and I progress the schedule accordingly, then depending on what's coming up, but then I also go, all right, well, you need to change. We need to change this because they had a night off or did a recovery session or did
increase or decrease load,
increase or decreasing load, volume depending, and it's not all about loading. It's about understanding the different types of loading and in what planes you're loading.
Explain that.
So I can say, all right, cool, we're going to be doing 40-meter sprints. All right, so we're going to be getting a lot of quad, hamstring. If we're doing sprinting, a lot of hip flex and quad work, calf work. Right, that's cool. That's load. All right, but if I do that again, say in the gym, do a lot of lunges or squats or whatnot, then that's extra load on those same muscle groups. All right, so that way we start to push them into the red zone of okay, well now we're at risk of injury for those areas because we're overloading. What I try and do is say, all right, cool. Well, we're looking at one load here on forwards motion. We need to work on backwards motion. We need to work on what's in the back, the posterior chain, and so it's about that balanced loading rather than just pure loading. Because anyone can take a load data, but it's about going, okay, well, how are you balancing this out? How are you going to then protect people from these overuse injuries?
I think that there is an important reason why you get someone into your team who knows what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Because anyone can make someone run.
Absolutely.
Anyone can set a Tabata sprint, a mass sprint session, whatever. Just run that way, come back, do it again. 3 sets of 8, good. It's now knowing, okay, I've done 3 sets of 8 in the sagittal plane in forward sprints with no decelerations. Now I've got to do the same thing posteriorly. Now I've got to go laterally. Now I've got to work in some sort of transverse plane, or as you said before, curvilinear.
Exactly.
I've got to do every part of it because, as we know, unless you're a sprinter, no one runs straight all the time. There's an opponent who will jump in front of you.
Don't shake the camera, man.
Damn it. Stop being Italian. There's an opponent who will jump in front of you. There's, opponents or at sidelines, you got to, the sidelines in soccer. Sidelines, you got to stay within.
In the barriers of the ground.
Barriers of the boundaries. You got to stay within. So you can't just work in the same plane or do just a sprint all the time. So I'm glad you brought that up because it's pretty important. Just not to just sprint, but like I did in a post this week. You can just jump and you can just sprint, but you got to learn to stop and you got to learn to land, which a lot of people forget to program into it.
And if you see the warm ups that I do, our game day warm ups, I add all that into it. So lateral work, backwards work, we do accelerations, we do decelerations, we do change of speed, we do long distance sprinting, we do long distance sprinting, 20 meters or so, short distances and whatnot, and I try and add all that into game day progressively, add into game day warm up. As well as we do adductor work, as well as we're doing side planks, as well as we're doing hip thrusts in our game day warm up.
To balance everything.
To get things fired up and ready that I need fired up and ready.
Yep.
So the core takes longer so the core musculature takes longer to warm up and be at point ready to go. So we do that in the warm up.
Do you do activation or like PAP sessions morning of, day before?
Not with the team.
To do not with the team.
That's with my individual clients. So like say if the girls have a game on Friday and they come in Friday morning, or they'll come in on the Thursday, and we'll do more of a PAP session, so more of a power session, or I say power session, jumping, landing, that kind of stuff. We'll do that, throwing things around. I'll do that with individuals, but not with the boys. If I had complete control of their time schedule, definitely.
But you do something like that in their warm up, like a big power
As in
exercise,
game
body
day warm
movement.
up?
Yeah.
I do jumping, landing.
Yep.
I don't know how much of that I would add in, because I've only got about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
Because our warm up, the warm up from start to finish, is they'll come out. We have a team chat in change rooms. They'll come out and I give them 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how we're running for time. Have a kick around the ball, just get feet on the ground, that kind of stuff, and then they're in with me for 10 to 12. After they're in with me for 10 to 12, which is just pure physical warm up. Okay, I say pure physical, mental as well, but game focus. Then from that they go into ball work warm up, and that's usually I think the same 10 to 12 minutes.
Yep.
And that's where they're doing passing, moving, running, that kind of stuff. So the whole warm up is usually about 25 minutes. Then we head back indoors, get changed, and come out for the game.
Yep.
My in-game warm-up, so the boys that I got on the bench, I would take down the corner flag, we do a warm-up, and that involves, same thing, accelerations, decelerations, jumping, landing. Sometimes I'll give them some PAP stuff, where they're hit me reactive or moving and whatnot before they get on the park, they're sweaty.
Yep.
And then we might do that.
Which is how it should be.
You
don't walk on the park fresh.
No. It's just leg swings. I fucking hate leg swings as well. Alright? I'll tell you why in a minute. But I hate leg swings. I let the boys do some of that stuff.
I was going to say, my boys do leg swings. Because we like it. Because they like it. And you just, I think...
Do you coach it or do I coach? Hang on, so do you coach it or do you let them do it themselves?
I let them do it.
Yeah, okay, so I don't coach leg swings.
No.
I will see them doing it and I'm like, just gonna put blinkers on just for now, because I know comparatively to what they are doing with me, it's a minute part of it.
And I normally finish with it, so then on all my work, they go, now do your leg swings.
So I didn't say that. I just look at them and they know. They're gonna go do it. It's like having a smoko. Like, you can do it, but athletes, right?
Yep.
You can do it, just don't do it in me. I don't want to see you doing your leg swings.
I can just see Donald's eyes right now, looking at us like, if you don't want them doing it, they shouldn't be doing it. You've got to educate them why they shouldn't be doing it. Donald, we know.
No.
We know.
Donald called me out this week, and you know it, right?
Yes.
I loved it. I want to talk about that as well.
We should talk
I'm
about that.
getting fired up now. Anyway, leg swings.
Keep going before I want to bring up the next.
Okay, so we'll do that stuff. So they'll pat, they'll work, and they get sweaty before they get on the field. Then they're ready to go. So they're sweaty because they're warm. They're not sweaty because they're fatigued. There's a difference.
Yes.
All right.
So sweaty, not fatigued.
Sweaty, not fatigued. Sweaty as in like we're ready to go. They come on the park and they're ready to do it.
Yes.
And so with the leg swings, like I said, I won't coach it specifically. I'll let them do it because it feels good. Whatever they want to do, right? Increase wrong, but it's a minute part of what they're doing with me. Mentally, for them, it feels good.
That's exactly why I let the guys
You
do it. If they think they feel like the placebo.
Absolutely.
If they think they're more ready with a leg swing, go do your leg swing. And Donald, that's my excuse. That's what I'm going to run with.
It's not an excuse. It's a reason.
It's a reason.
Back it up in court.
That's what I'm running with.
Yeah.
Same as some of the boys. I remember last season, some guys would want, give me a quick stretch. And I know static stretching is not beneficial before competition. Donald, I get it. But if they like it, I'm just going to, and literally each stretch is held for 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
It's like a rub down.
It's
like
pretty
a
much.
You ain't getting, you feel good up here, but down physically.
They walk away, give me the gangster high five,
Yeah.
to go, and I've done my job.
Thanks,
and
bro.
They're happy.
Good 2 seconds. Right?
Exactly. They think that they're ready to go. So
now, why do I hate leg swings? Just real quick for those who are out there watching who want to know why you do leg swings. I watch other teams warm ups, and every team does it because it's an old school warm up. Right? June last year, June July last year, I did some studies that had just come out in April on hamstring injury and different types of, now I can't remember the exact, I'll find it for you, I have to find it for you. I'm on my whiteboard at home somewhere. But basically, hamstring injury and like warm-up protocols. And what it's saying is that when you do, like say, leg swings, so open chain work with the open chain stretching versus closed chain stretching, leg swings so increase ROM of the hamstring, but you decrease stiffness of the hamstring. Right? Increase ROM, decrease stiffness.
Okay.
Right? To minimize injury, you need to be stiffer.
Yeah.
Not super stiff, but stiff enough. All right. And so what I will add into it, instead of open chain stretching, closed chain hamstrings. So we'll do like floor sweeps.
Yep.
We do kickbacks, as in like stomp the ground kickback. Boys think it's for the opposite, the contralateral glute. It's not. It's for your hamstring on the ground side, but take that. Sneaky. Right? So we'll do all closed chain hamstring stretching.
Yep.
Beforehand. So I want to keep the stiffness in the hammies.
So more that dynamic stretch rather than... Sorry, they're both dynamic stretches. You're more that controlled rather than just...
It's controlled and,
swing,
it's controlled and increases the stiffness. Also, keeps the stiffness of the hamstring. And so I know that the work that we've done to build the strength of the hamstrings up and the work that we've done to increase to develop the capacity of the hamstrings to work like concentrally, eccentrically in that change phase, the work is good. Right? So I don't want to decrease... I don't want to increase the chances of injury by decreasing the stiffness.
Yep.
Right, so I'm not going to be doing leg swings. I'm going to be still going to be doing some stretching. Still going to be doing some movements. Still going to be doing some dynamic integrated stretches. But like I said, the floor sweeps, the kickbacks, that's our hamstrings. That's how everybody's getting ready to go, get fight. Incorporate it into a whole, it's a whole system. But that's why I hate leg swings, because if you're going to decrease stiffness or something, you're just asking for injury. If that player's not resilient enough to compete at a high level.
Well, tendons need stiffness for contractility, excitability, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're stretching them, it's like stretching a stretch rubber band. It's going to keep getting looser.
Oh yeah.
You lose all that excitability in the tendon.
And then you're trying to compete at high levels.
Two things happen. Could potentially happen. One, you lose performance, as in your stretch shortening cycle, your ability to explode horizontally or vertically.
Down.
Two, increased risk of injury.
Absolutely.
Because now your joints are more sublax. They're more
they're lax.
They're lax.
Movable.
So
exactly.
There's two huge reasons to not, number one, statically stretch or swing your legs or swing your joints around, loosening the joint itself.
Open chain. Yeah, no, not for me. And so that's the big thing I've removed.
Yep.
You know, and done my best to minimize as much as I can.
Yep.
You know, and add in the program and add in the warm ups, what they need to be able to perform at the best level.
Is every warm up for you different?
What do you mean?
So let's say I'm just going to throw a number out. It's not exactly going to be correct for you.
Table, remember?
I need like another table. I sit back. Use my legs. So let's say you pick 10 exercises for your warm-up on Monday. Your Tuesday, are they the exact same 10? Or have you done 7 of the 10 and then 3 new ones?
Different. So it depends on the session we're doing. So game day warm-ups. Alright, so for example, game day warm-up is specific, 10 to 12 minutes, building up.
Is your game day shorter or longer or the same as a training?
Game day would be shorter, my component, because then they go do the ball work, so they're getting more stuff there. Game day is also about like mental.
Ooh. Come back to me with my ooh in a sec. Keep going.
Go with it all now.
Yeah. So there was a very well-renowned strength coach, head strength coach, actually a high-performance manager, who recently put on Twitter that you don't need to dynamically stretch and warm up the boys as an S&C before competition. They'd be better off just performing their game as a warm-up.
Did see that.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
What's your thoughts on that? I personally don't agree with it. As much as I respect this man, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either.
Why?
Because I feel like you're not getting the activation, you're not getting you're not preparing them.
Yep.
Physically.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be much, but for me, it's about preparing them physically.
Yep.
You know, but also, are we getting offended because it makes our jobs redundant on the game day? I don't think it does.
I don't think so. My point of view is, if you just said, okay, you go play your game, because it's against their own teammates, right?
Yeah.
They're going to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
You're never going to warm up on your own against your own teammates at a full intensity.
No.
As much as you say go do it, as much as they think they want to do it, they think they are doing it, you're not going to do it.
Unless you're elite, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
With a different headset, different mindset.
Different mindset.
Which is, they're 1%, not even, they're 0.5% of every athlete in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you program a specific warm-up that covers all the movements you want and they're going to do in the game, you know they're good.
Yeah.
Then you go to that other part of the warm-up. I do think you should shorten it. I don't think the game day should be as long as a training day, which you've said before, you just said, and I agree with.
Yeah.
So it's definitely shorter, a bit more intense, but I still think it's necessary just to cover everything.
Yeah.
Then spend the rest of the time you would do, let's say your trainings are 12 to 15 minute warm-ups. Game day, maybe have 8 to 10 minute warm-ups. The rest of that time, now go do your game.
Yeah.
Now go warm up like you would playing basketball,
like
soccer, football.
For me, the game day warm up is about getting them in the zone.
Yeah.
You know, so they know to go have a kick around, whatever. Then they come over and we go, now I want you 2 lines, and we have cones and whatever set up. I want you 2 lines, and now we focus.
Yeah.
We focus on this, and then from that they get to the game, and they get to the movement around and whatever. So if they're a little bit stiff or a little bit tight, my component of the warm up physically gets them going.
Yep.
All right.
And even mentally as well.
I was about to say, but mentally prepares them, so they know, cool, we're doing this, we're doing that, focus on this and that, whatever, and that's all good to go. Then you can go do your game stuff.
Yep.
You know, it's shorter. And then what I do is I change it. So going back to when I had my hand like that before, because I said hold it. All right. So then game day is shorter, but then I also change it depending on the session. So Tuesdays when we do our speed work, the warm up actually leads into the session. So they will say, "Cool guys, let's go do the warm up." They're doing the warm up, and then the first couple reps, first couple runs, whatever they might be, a lower intensity.
Yeah.
60%, 70%, then 80%, and then we hit 90%, and that's where the session starts. But they wouldn't exactly.
Yeah.
So a couple times, I would have guys saying, "Oh, but you said we're only doing like 6 reps," and I'm like, "We are doing 6 reps from now."
Yeah.
Right, so they might have done 10 total, but those ones for me are warm up. Who's coming out to perform today?
Yeah.
Who's coming out to, do what they want to get out of the session and intensity, and who's coming out to slack off?
Yeah.
And I can iron that out in those first couple reps as the warm up leads into that. Gym session obviously will be different as well.
There really should be no definitive line between the end of a warm up and the start of a game.
Absolutely not.
It should just blend naturally straight through to the start of the siren.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important. Where you do see a lot of teams warm up, and I see this in even my league. Warm up, go to the change rooms, have their talk, come back out, shoot the ball for a little bit, start the game.
Yeah.
That's a whole cool down phase.
Yeah.
You've done nothing for, even if it's only 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to cool down.
Yeah.
Whereas my boys, I'll make them warm up for the last 2 minutes where they quickly go talk to Joey, come back on the court.
We have a phase where we go, once we've done the ball work, we try and stay out as long as we can for the refs call us in.
Yep.
Because then they come in, get out the warm up gear, put the game gear on, last drinks and whatever they need to have, team bond, and then get out.
Yeah,
so
which is how long though?
2 to 3 minutes.
Quick, right?
Ideally. Sometimes it takes longer. Like sometimes we've had games where refs haven't come out, and we've been like, got the boys warmed up. We're on the field now. So last week we were on the field for 6 minutes after half time. They did their team talk. They come out and see me. We do a little bit of stuff, and usually it's about 2 to 3 minutes for me on the sideline before we start the second half of the game, and then they do, then they get the gameplay, right? Last week they come out, did a little stuff for me, cool, they're ready to go. Other teams still in the change rooms. Refs are still in the change rooms. It was like 6 or 7, I'm actually looking at my watch, like it was 7 minutes later. So I take the boys in, make sure they're moving, do some work, keep moving.
That's just the unpredictability of sport.
Exactly.
Like you can't control everything all the time.
You can't control that, but ideally minimize that. Like you said, you minimize that as much as possible. And I've seen that, obviously my league as well, not at that high level, but trying to minimize that time between you're physically prepared, then you kind of switch off a little bit, then you go back into it.
Yeah.
You've got to be that's what I say to boys when I take them on the sidelines, that you've got to be at game intensity mentally, physically, before you step foot on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming on fresh, if you're coming on, say, 60th or 70th minute, soccer 90-minute games, if you're coming on at 60 or 70 minutes, there are fatigued players out there that you're going to be competing against.
Yeah.
I don't want you to warm up when you're out there and build up to their level, because that could take 10, 15 minutes. I want you at a better level when you get out there so you can destroy everyone.
Exactly. Anything else on that topic? I thought there was something else on the topic.
Oh, man, I'm so pumped.
You're so pumped?
Everything.
Let's break that one down.
Keep going.
Communication to athletes.
What about it?
So we communicate differently.
Yeah, well, very much so. Very much so.
We saw that recently in a post where I got called out by Josh, and Josh has recently been called out as well.
Oh,
which
yeah.
we can get to that in a sec.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
So I put a post up this week on stopping, on deceleration. The post was correct.
The post was correct.
Most of the way. Just one of my arrows wasn't correct, which Josh pulled me up on, and I agreed with him and said, yep, my little brain fade there, 100% right from Josh's end. You're very much into the biomechanics side of things, explaining, and even a friend said this the other day, they said, when I compared Josh's post to your post, Josh uses a lot of technical words,
Do I?
some jargon,
really? Wow.
and it's like it makes sense, but it's very technical. You dumb it down.
You dumb it down.
I dumb it down.
I dumb it down.
So apparently I dumb it down where it's easily understood. I don't use all the massive jargon. There might be a few words in there, but it's a lot more understandable for the more basic person.
Okay.
Now,
I thought I tried to do that.
I can understand yours, but I don't use your language a lot.
No.
Is that how you talk to your athletes?
No.
Do you go full technical, explain like that?
Nah, fuck nah.
Is it just for posts?
Literally.
And you didn't even know you do it.
No, just for posts, because I'm like, you know what? You know what it is? And I'm glad you said that, because I never get feedback on my posts.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Alright, so what it is, when I'm posting, right, because I take my, say Instagram, because that's what I post on, right? My Instagram, and then subsequently my Facebook page, which links the exact same. When I post on that, I want high quality content that can be put out there. I'm talking to coaches, I'm talking to athletes, I'm talking to clientele who are interested in these sides of things. So I try to actually dumb it down from what I'm thinking in my head, right? So I need to dumb it down even more because I want people to understand, cool, well, here's the rationale behind this, here's what this post is about, here's where I can, if you don't know a term, you can look up the terms, so you can see what I'm talking about in particular. And I try and keep things, fairly anatomical, but also you can understand them with a little bit of knowledge.
Yep.
That's why I try and keep in mind, because I want to see high value that if someone comes out and goes, hang on, well, that's wrong, I want to be told in those terms particularly. So that's what I try and use my socials as for that. When I'm talking about athletes, it's exactly as I'm talking to you now. Fucking move your knee here, turn your hip there, do this, do that, whatever.
Don't internally rotate. You're not saying that. It's just...
Do not internally rotate and land and no, absolutely, absolutely not.
Basic, move your knee out here.
Basic,
touch my hand with the knee.
Touch my hand. I the other day I had I wanted Jenna to jump higher. She wasn't jumping as high as I wanted to jump, so I got a cone. I was like, reach the cone. And next thing you know, she jumped high. Like that, real super basic communication. I was like,
and it's not like we think they can't understand it.
No.
It's just, I don't know, it's just a simpler way of doing it. It's easier to get your point across without all the jargon involved in it. So that's what I was curious.
The jargon, for me, the jargon is the background. For me, it's the fundamentals. This is how I'm thinking in my head. Right? I'm thinking in my head, shit, internally rotating here, sublux in here, doing this here, whatever, something there, whatever. Right? I'm not going to say that to them. They're not going to understand that. Alright, so even with my clients, orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, I only go maybe one step higher if they want to understand.
You use some maybe muscle terminology.
Maybe some muscle terms, maybe some like kinematic terms or whatnot, but like even with them, I'm like, dumb it right down. Extend here, lift this, put that there, move that there. Super simple.
So I found it interesting when someone did say, you're very technical, you're not. They're both obviously 100% correct, but...
Obviously 100% correct, both of us. Just so people know.
Most of the time. We've both been pulled up lately.
I love it. I was waiting for it.
Yes.
And only one... We'll talk about this in a second. Keep going. Yeah.
So just that communication thing. I just want to know, how do you speak to your athletes? Are they all... Obviously, they're all different. Like every other human being in the entire world, we all speak to each other differently. I just want to know, do you go into the technical side of it? Because, one of my topics this semester at uni, which is interesting, I think it will get more interesting. At the moment, it's talking about children. but it's psychology.
Okay. Yep.
Psychology in relation to communication, that sort of stuff. And they were saying that there's a couple of different people, different psychologists, doctors that talk about how do you talk, again, at the moment it's talking about children, how do you talk to children?
Yes.
One of the, I think his name is Piaget, don't know first names, it's only last names. He says, talk to the person based on their age.
Okay.
Me being who I am at uni, which you know so far.
Murph's got a question.
How no one's the same, everyone's the same maybe biological age at that point. So if you're 4, you're 4 biologically. You can't, there's no denying that.
Yeah.
But 4 biologically doesn't mean you're 4
Maturity. Well,
yeah, understanding, intelligence. You could be 5, you could be 3.
Yeah.
So just because you're 4, you don't talk to them like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So another guy, I'm pretty sure this Ericsson, this other dude, or there's another name which I can't pronounce. I'm guessing Russian or German. They're saying speak to them at that age, their biological age, but then incorporate some language that's above their age to then not only get them to understand at their age, but also teach them. And that's how I talk to my athletes.
Yeah.
I did that naturally anyway. So I would say, touch my hand with your knee.
Yeah.
To get rid of that valgus knee. But I'd say to them to get rid of the valgus knee. And I'd say, this is why we don't want to get rid of that. We do want to get rid of that. So give it real basics. They go, I know exactly what he's saying now because it makes sense to me. But then I've thrown some extra words in there to teach them. So next time I come to it, say, remember that. Yeah. So that I want to educate my boys, not just tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Influence, not just inform.
Yes.
Sort of thing.
Correct.
You do the same thing, right?
Yeah. Very much so. And I try and use my in session and then my social media as they go hand in hand.
Yep.
And so if I'm talking, say for example, the one I did recently on Jane. Yep. Alright. I talked to Jane in session about here's what I want you to do, just tuck your chin down, do this, that, whatever.
You did the chin bit.
No. Hey, we're gonna talk about that. So in session I say the basics, do this, do that, whatever. But then I'll follow up on Instagram with something a bit more in depth. Yep. That's really where that comes from, actually. Yep. I've never actually thought of it that way. I try and dumb it down from what I'm thinking so people can understand that, but then I try and mix that in with what that particular person's getting in that session. Yep. So that she'll go, oh cool, tuck my chin in, I know how to do the lift, I know how to do whatever I'm doing, and then go, oh shit, here's a post that actually explains what and why and how. That's probably how I think about it.
One thing I love and I pride myself on, and I love that I've been able to achieve this with most of my clients and most of the boys in the Sixers at the moment, is they will call each other out for bad technique.
Oh my god, I love it.
And then dob them into me.
Yep. Yeah.
Murph, he's not doing this. Murph, he's not doing it. Or they actually go correct each other.
Yep.
And they'll go correct. You got to do this more. You got to do this better. Lift your hips up. Stop rotating. I'm like,
that's influencing
this is cool.
I had 2 of my girls message me this week. So we're in a little group chat with 2 clients. Nor Alex. Big shout out to those guys. They messaged me a image of someone else doing a deadlift. Right? Someone that they saw, like not anyone local, they wouldn't know them, but they're like, hang on. They were having a discussion about it. So I think this is too wide. I think that's like this, whatever. What do you think of that? And then it sends me and it was like, what are your thoughts on this? And I was like, I love that you're discussing this when that's not their job, right? They don't want to, that's not their job, and they're interested in it. They want to play the sport, but they can now pick up the same thing. They can now pick up, oh, hang on a sec, well, that's a bit different, or could, like, almost like critically analyze it from limited knowledge that I've given them. Yeah. And that's sick when that happens. Yeah.
I love it. It's very pleasing to know that people that you coach care as much as you do about technique, about posture, about correct performance. I loved it. On all the correct stuff.
Yeah.
Go.
Which part?
Tell the social media world what you did over the last, 4 days?
Yeah, I double blinded fucking everyone. So, I posted a video. Okay, so context is, a couple of weeks back, as you would know, I've had a few feuds, beef with people putting out shit on the ground, right, and promoting it as good. If you put out shit and promote it as shit, respect, right? But if you put out shit and promote it as good, we got an issue now.
Yeah, there's an
Alright? Anyway, so there was people putting out stuff about deadlifting and technique and it was crap. And I was like, that's wrong. And here's why and whatever. Anyway, instead of just putting out another video of here's a deadlift and here's how it should look and here's some reasons why and whatever, thousands of people have done that. Millions. Go fucking look somewhere else. I put out a video which when I promoted, I was looking at lumbar curvature. And I was like, lumbar curvature is in this video of this client, of Jane, was fantastic. She did really well.
Spot on.
Lumbar was perfect. But her chin and her cervical spine, her neck was fucked up.
Cervical spine wasn't too bad.
Alright? It was the neck.
Sorry.
No.
Thoracic spine wasn't too bad.
No, thoracic. I said
Sorry,
cervical.
yeah, you're right.
Don't call me out again.
My bad.
Alright? Okay. So her neck extended too quickly and aggressively for what I would normally allow. I don't allow that at all.
Yeah.
Right? But I was like, I'm gonna put it out and see if it comes back to me. Right? And even in a post, even called myself a brilliant coach.
I did say that. I mean, that's not like Josh.
That should have been the indicator.
He just spoke himself up. That's weird. That's weird.
That should have been the indicator right now. Like, some shit's happening right now. So anyway, so I put that video out. Alright? Here's the video. Jane's doing well. I'm a brilliant coach. Whatever. And now, posted it and I sat back. And I was like, is anyone going to call me out? And say, or ask a question. What about this, right? Because I do that to people. If I see people putting out things on Instagram, I'll privately message them and say, hey, just querying, why is this the case? And this could be people who are peers, people who are not as experienced, or people who are high level, right? So why is that the case? So finding out what the rationale is. If it's crap, I'll tell you, right? Private message first. And I'll respond.
Out of respect.
Out of respect, number one. But also, if you're just a shithead, I want you to know that I'm watching. You're a shithead. And so I put that out there. Shit, I swear, I went back probably an hour later. I reckon it was like, I posted it like, done, and then Donald was like, ha!
I see you.
Donald got me.
Donald's spidey senses went off.
So he's like, there's some shit in the world. Anyway, so the Donald messaged me. So you haven't seen the Donald episode, he's our mentor. One of the first ones we did back next year. You go look up the one with Donald. Anyway, so he messaged me and asked, didn't even ask a question. He said, this is wrong. The neck extension, blah, 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 blah. Right? Here's why.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what happened then. So I was like, I told Murph, I was like, Donald called me out. I was so happy. And so anyway, I wrote back and I was like, Donald, I understand. I was waiting for you to comment. I knew this would come up. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for telling me. Right? And I said, here's why I've done it. I didn't tell him exactly what I was going to do, but I said, here's why I've done it. And here are other videos of Jane deadlifting as she normally would. And I sent him a video. And he goes, that looks much better. And I was like, that's exactly how I normally do it. Right? And so anyway, so then the next day was when I put out the other post about why didn't anybody ask me about the neck extension? You know, maybe, well, there's multiple reasons. Maybe people just don't give a fuck, number one. Maybe they were too busy, number two. Maybe they just were like, I'm not going to call George out. There's a reason for that. Yeah. That's fair enough. There was a reason for that. But for me, it's about the industry accountability for itself. Yeah. Right? And so we are very strong on that, on saying, hey, why is this the case? Or being accountable for what you're putting out. Yeah. Right? And I was extremely happy when Donald messaged me. I knew he would. Yeah. Right? Always watching. Right? But did anybody else? You said you would have. Yeah. A class was a half because you didn't actually do it, but you did. Yeah. Comment. Right? But I'd expect that. Yeah. I'd expect those people to hold me accountable for what I'm doing. And I wanted it. Right? Didn't come. Actually, people commenting saying, oh yeah, cool, like, lumbar spine was good. Like, yeah, it does, but you should know that the neck was fucked. Yeah. Right? And so that's the issue that I put out next, was about no one called me out on that. No one asked me that question. So either I'm not open enough in my Instagram to say, hey, ask me the question. Or people, like I said, don't give a fuck or whatever the issues are. But I think that it needs to be done. And I will continue doing it. I will continue messaging people and commenting and asking questions and whatnot. And people can just ignore as much as they want. But I'm going to keep doing it until those people hold themselves accountable. Right? So the beef that I had with old mate with the deadlift video, called him out, went to private messages and all this shit was happening and whatever. Then what have I seen now? He hasn't put a deadlift video out again. Had another dig at me, so I'm going to address that. But, right? But hasn't put a deadlift video out. So I've now influenced someone else's posting. He's actually considering what he's posting. Whether or not you still hate me, I don't give a shit. I don't care, right? But I care what your followers see. And I care if they think shit.
Yeah.
That's what I care about. Because you could put out a post, this is anyone, you could put out a post, right? And someone watches it and goes, oh, that's how I'm going to go do it. And then they go do it and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
You're now at fault for that. That's on you. Whoever you are putting that out, that's on you.
Yeah.
And so if I can then say, hang on, at that point in time you put that out, say, hey, that's wrong, or that's going to injure someone, or there's a high risk here, are you going to keep putting it out? If you keep putting it out, then we've got issues because you are now potentially injuring people moving forward that you didn't know about. You didn't know you're going to injure them and you injured them. You know, if you blow someone's back out because you've shown them an incorrect technique with deadlift and whatever your theories are, any exercise, but whatever your theories are, you blow their back out, that's a lifelong injury now. That's a recurrent lifelong injury pending them getting high level help. And that shits me.
Yep.
Because I see those people come into me and say, hey, I need you to help me because here's what happened with such and such trainer, coach, whatever it may be. And I've got to then go back through and rehab that person from a situation they should not have to be rehabbed from if the care was taken at the start.
Again, there's just no accountability in the
No.
industry. And they don't want to be called out, and they call out culture, which is a bad thing. And it's, yeah.
There's a difference between attacking a person and attacking a method or a technique.
And it's not even attacking, it's questioning.
It's questioning. It's
Questioning a method or technique.
Questioning to start with.
Yeah.
And then if they don't respond, then I will say, hey, well, here's what I think is wrong with that. What's your rationale? You know, do you have a rationale for that? Like, I don't know that person or whoever they're posting with. I don't know the background. I know mechanics.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
And I know potential injury risk and I know potential outcomes of certain lifting parameters or techniques or movements or whatever. Right? So I'm looking at it from that perspective. That person may have a reason why you're doing it that way. Right? I'm going to ask a question. And if you're confident in your abilities and you're understanding why you're getting to do that, then why don't you respond to me?
Yeah.
We say, hey, well, this person's actually got this kind of issue or this, and I'm like, sweet, that's fantastic. You know, I respect. Then we've got a connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, then you're not going to injure someone. And then put that out with what you're saying, rather than just going, here's how it should be done, and it's terrible. There is a level of care that you must take with not just the people you're with one-on-one, but the people you're then, if you're in a public profile,
You're trying to influence.
you're trying to influence. You are trying to influence with whatever your posts are, right? And so I spend, I would say 95% of my posts on my Instagram are of my clientele, lifting or whatever it may be, but it's all my clientele.
Yeah.
Because I want people to see what they're capable of doing, not what I'm capable of doing, because I should be able to do everything with great technique.
You're a coach.
I'm a coach. It's my job. The clients come and say, oh, you can do that so easily. I'm like, yeah, this is my job.
Exactly.
I don't come to your job and be like, oh my God, I can't do this very well because it's your job, right?
Yeah.
So I should be able to do that. So I don't want them to watch me do it.
Yeah.
I want them to watch other people do it the way that I would coach them to do it. And that's the level of care that I have for them and then anyone who follows and watches what I'm putting out. So I know if someone goes from what I'm writing and what I'm putting out, images or videos or whatever, they look at that and they go, cool, I can do that. And I know that if that person goes and does that, that unnamed person or person I don't know goes and does that, they're safe.
Yeah.
If they do it how I've sort of put it out in my opinion and my ideas. You take a breath.
Yeah. I think we're good.
Fine.
I think we're good. We've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot.
Let's not do a 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, no 6-hour podcast. We're gonna finish off here. Recap, some heat, and some warmth with these independent project beanies that we're wearing. And we will not have so much duration between times.
Yes, let's get onto this again.
And we'll get the contact one out as well.
Yes.
If you guys watch that one, that's actually pretty cool. Alright.
Sounds good.
Until next time, friends. Thanks for joining us.
We're back.
Bye now. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Fired up now.
I've got a big fat drum. I've got a big fat drum. Pounding so bad, I've got a big fat drum. Big fat drum. I've got a big. Hey!